Hi, I'm Nikita. Welcome to this Yoga for Beginners class brought to you by Gallagher for Mental Health Awareness Week. In this session, we're going to be looking at the core. In addition to your abdominal muscles, the core includes muscles in your back, hips and legs that help to stabilize the spine. And when the core is weak, it's not possible to hold a healthy, sound posture. Now, as well as being more comfortable and safe for the body, we know that posture is connected to a good mood. So it's important where we can to develop and support consistently good postural alignment habits, and that begins with the core. So because core strength is quite hard to work on, this is a short class, but these are some really effective postures to help us achieve that. So we're going to start lying down on our backs. Knees bent and stacked on top of ankles to begin with. We're going to start working on a core strength flow that I really love because it allows you to listen to your body as you build up to the right challenge for you. So start with the hands alongside the body. As you inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky and then back towards the floor behind you. As you exhale, sweep the arms forwards, reaching beyond the knees as we tuck the chin into the chest and lift the head and shoulders away from the ground. A gentle toning of the abdominal core. Inhale, come back down to the ground, arms reach towards the wall behind you. Exhale again, reach forward, chin to the chest. We draw the navel down in towards the spine to support this lifting of the shoulder girdle. Inhale, come back down to the ground. Last time as you exhale, reach the arms forward, navel draws down towards the floor, strong activation of your tummy muscles. Tuck chin into the chest and then inhale, release. Take an exhale here and give yourself a moment just to take a break before we step this up a little bit. We're gonna, when you're ready, lift the feet off the ground so that the knees stack on top of the hips, or if that's uncomfortable for the lumbar spine, bring them in just a little bit, but try and keep the shins and the feet in line with the knees, kind of like a tabletop. And we're going to repeat the same flow again, but this time with the feet away from the ground, slightly stronger. Inhale, lift the arms up towards the sky. With an exhale, chin to chest, we reach the arms forwards. If you find that this is no good for the lower back, if it feels too strong, then bring your feet back down to the ground and repeat the previous version. Inhale, come back down to the ground. Again, exhale, sweep forwards, chin to chest, upper back lifts. Inhale, come down to the ground. Last one, just like this. Inhale, down to the ground. And again, we'll take a little break after those 3 rounds of breath. You might find that bending the knees and hugging the thighs in, massaging the lower back is a nice way to take a break before dialing up to the next stage. When you're ready, we straighten the legs, press the balls of the toes towards the sky, the feet roughly on top of the hips. But again, if that's too strong for the lumbar spine, you can bring the feet in slightly so that the lower back feels comfortable. Inhale, arms lift up towards the sky. Exhale, we sweep forwards, chin comes in towards the chest. See if you can send the toes towards the ceiling and lift the sacrum away from the ground. Release the hips, release the arms and head. Exhale again, sweep forwards, lift into the hips. Inhale, release and come back. Last time, exhale, sweep forwards, fingertips reach for the wall in front of you, chin to chest, hips lift. Exhale, release. We're not finished yet. As we exhale, we're going to sweep the arms forwards and release the right leg until the heel hovers just away from the ground. Inhale, come back up. Let's do this on the left leg now. Exhale, reach the fingertips and the tiptoes forwards. Inhale, come back up to release. One more time on each leg. Exhale, right leg. Head and shoulders lift. Inhale, let it go. Last one this time with the left leg. Make sure that the left heel hovers away from the ground. Inhale, come up. And then exhale, hug the knees into the chest. Circle around the sacrum. Release into the lower back. Okay. When we slide the hands behind the knees and we start to rock forwards and backwards, to build up a little bit of momentum so that we can come to sitting upright. Now, if rocking forwards and backwards doesn't feel good in the lower back, then you can just roll out to the side and lift yourself up. We're going to practice a posture called boat pose. Option 1 is to have the feet hip width distance apart, sitting with the shoulders on top of the hips and reaching the arms forwards. And this is helpful if you have a lower back pain, or if for any reason your abdominal core is quite weak at the moment. I myself have just had a baby 6 months ago, so I'm still working on building my core strength back up. If you've had an operation recently, or for whatever reason, if your abdominal core does not support the lower back, please don't lift the feet away from the ground. This is where you're going to stay. Work on hugging the tummy in towards the back, activating and toning into the tummy to maintain this posture. The next step up is to lift the feet, holding onto the backs of the thighs, with the feet in line with the knees, hugging the thighs together, really squeezing them in towards each other. That hugging in towards the midline helps us harness our core strength. Another option, if you want to move up a little bit more, is to cross the ankles and squeeze the feet together. That helps to get the inward hugging of the thighs too. And you might find that that makes it easier to let go. When you are ready to release, bring the ankles down to the ground and cross them very low towards the feet so the knees are quite wide. And we take the heels in close towards the groin, take the hands to the ground behind you. We very carefully ease forwards to bring the knees onto the ground. If it's hard to bring the knees to the ground with the hands on the mat, put bricks underneath your hands, books. This will help us to release into the hip flexors and the upper thighs, which we activated quite a lot there in those core strength postures, in particular boat pose. And then we'll bring the hips back down to the ground. To the opposite side, again, hands to the mat behind you. Carefully ease the knees towards the ground so you can soften some space into the front of the hips after that strong activation of boat pose. Okay, hips come down. And now we are going to move into a supported version of plank pose. So move to all fours with the wrists on top of the shoulders, and take the knees a little bit further back. So if you came to plank pose with the shoulders on top of the wrists and a straight line between the hips and the heels, this is full plank. We bring the knees down to the ground. The knees are a little bit further back than the hips. And then we're going to lift the feet and cross the knees. Now, this won't look like very much to you, but it will feel strong. We are going to start to magnetize the knees forwards towards the wrists. Neither the hands or the knees move, we just energize them towards each other, which will require a real activation of the abdominal core and the muscles in your back. Let's do that again. Take an inhale. Long exhalation. Squeeze the knees towards the wrists. Soften. One last time. Exhale. Squeeze the knees towards the wrists. Inhale, release. Bring the feet down to the ground. Option to repeat that again, or come into full plank pose. In plank pose, we want to make sure that the shoulders line up with the hips and the heels. We take a deep inhale and then exhale, squeeze the tiptoes towards the wrists. You might find that there's a little juddering. Inhale. One more time, exhale, squeeze the two together. And then inhale, release. Take a break at child's pose, knees wide, tiptoes together, forehead to the ground. To the ground. And with an inhale, come back to all fours. A little bit more plank work, but this time forearm plank. We start with the elbows on the ground. So from all fours, we drop the elbows to the ground. Just check that they're underneath the shoulders, and you can do that by just making sure that you're a little bit more plank work, but this time it's going to be forearm plank. So we get there by starting at all fours and lowering the forearms to the ground, elbow stack underneath the shoulders. And you step one foot back, and then the next. Again, look for the straight line between the shoulders, the hips, and the heels. We're going to count to 5 here. And then we turn the right fingertips towards the left elbow, roll to the outside edge of the right foot, and lift the left arm towards the sky. So we're in side plank. One more inhale. Come back as you exhale to forearm plank. Before switching to the opposite side. Left fingertips reach for the right elbow. Turn yourself out to face the right. If you feel like your hips are sagging low, lift them a little bit higher. Better that they're higher than, better that they're high towards the ceiling than too low. And then with an exhale, face the front, face the ground, and take a break in child's pose. With an in-breath, we'll lift to all fours and then spin ourselves around so that we're sitting with the legs extended forwards in front of us. And then we bend into the knees and slide the hips a little bit further forwards towards the short edge of the mat. With an inhale, we take the arms out in front of us. Exhale, round into the spine very slowly, as though you wanted to release the back body to the ground, one vertebrae at a time. And then inhale, lift back up. So we're going to go halfway until you start to feel like it's really hard work. Then you lift back up. Exhale, slowly round into the back body. Maybe go a little bit further this time. Inhale, lift back up. A little bit deeper perhaps this time as you exhale, rounding the spine, reaching the tailbone forwards. Inhale, come back up. And this time as you exhale, can you slide it all the way down to the ground? Now, if you find it difficult doing this with the arms extended in front of you, option to hold on to the backs of the thighs and walk yourself down to lying on your back. And we can either, caterpillar my way back to center frame, we can either keep the knees bent, which I prefer. This is constructive rest pose. It's much more comfortable for the lower back. Or if you prefer, extending the legs forwards into a full Shavasana. You might find that the lumbar spine is a little bit too far away from the ground, so you choose what works for you. I'm going to keep my knees bent. Option to bring the knees in towards each other if that allows you to let go more in the thighs. Now the invitation here is to really soften, to really allow the body to let go and be held by the ground underneath you. Just remembering that our power, our strength comes not only from our ability to work hard, to activate, to switch on. There is a huge amount of strength in being able to soften and let go and release. Take this as an opportunity to scan yourself from head to toe and notice where there may be some stubborn tension or resistance. Maybe the shoulders, maybe even the brow, the jaw. Maybe you're clenching into the buttocks or the pelvic floor a little bit without even realizing it. Are you able to invite a little bit more lightness into your experience here? if we are able to invite some lightness, some spaciousness, and some soft release into the physical body, and this is how we learn to do it emotionally and mentally as well. I leave you an option to pause the video and stay here for just as long as you need to. Otherwise, if you are ready to release, if you're feeling very soft and you're ready to close the practice, then you can just very carefully roll out towards the side. Use your top hands to guide yourself up and come to a seated posture that feels comfortable to you. Very carefully, very slowly allow the eyes to open, and we close the practice here. Thank you very much.